And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check, in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.
Welcome to Define You Radio. Class is in session with your host, the Southern Belle of Bold, Valencia
I think I pressed them.
Ready? Class is now in session.
Hello, and welcome to Define You Radio. Classes in session, where you get the tips, strategies, and life lessons from those who have defined their life. I'm your host, the Southern Belle of Bold, Valencia Griffin-Wallace, and you could tell it is a couple of days out until the holiday because technical difficulties that I never have, well, I'm not going to say never. We all have some technical difficulties sometimes. So it's so interesting. So, guys, I hope you guys are ready for Thanksgiving if you celebrate the holiday. If not, definitely make sure you are connected to Define You Radio and Define You Movement on Facebook so you can see all my holiday fun. I'm actually cooking, which a lot of people don't believe I cook. So let me tell you, I am the Southern Belle of Bold. I'm Southern. That's the key word in that sentence, Southern. So that means, yes, I do cook, but no, I don't like to cook. But it's a holiday, so, yeah, I'll be doing up a little magic in my kitchen. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We are on our monthly series, Taking Risk and Doing the Unexpected, and we are joined by Dr. Shekina Moore of B2F Girls Worldwide, and we are talking fierce, as in unexpectedly fierce. If you guys have seen her picture, you know she's a very beautiful young lady, but guess what? She's also fierce. So pens and papers ready, classes in session with Dr. Shekina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So do you have big Thanksgiving plans?
Yes. As a matter of fact, my sisters and I, we don't live too far from each other. We're all cooking different things. I have the collard greens going in the crock pot right now. And we're all coming together at my parents' house, and we're, of course, doing our traditional feast. Can't wait.
Okay, are y'all doing something tomorrow or something Thursday?
Definitely Thursday. Nothing tomorrow.
Oh.
We're just going to be prepping up in the kitchen, and I personally like to cook. I heard you say you don't like to cook, but I love to cook. I cook almost every day, but I am so excited.
But you're in the South, too, right? You're in Georgia, right?
Yes, ATL.
It is too hot to cook when you are in the South. That's the thing I always say. It's like it's too hot.
But you know what? I cook in my AC, so I'm good.
Goodness. Well, hopefully neither my son nor my husband is listening to this show, because that is the excuse I always say. It's just, I don't know. I could have the air on 60, windows open, a fan. I just can't. I don't know. I love the smell of food, and I definitely love to eat, and I can cook. That's the thing. I can cook. To me, I'm like, why? Everybody's grown in this So you never know. I've done more cooking this year, though, than I have in previous years, but they know not to get, get comfortable with that because I don't know. That's all I could say about that. So, Dr. Shekina, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about you?
Sure. So my name is Dr. Shekina Farr Moore, and my life's work has focused on the advancement of women and girls. And so a lot of what I do centers around those two groups, women, girls. I have a movement called Blood of Fierce. I have another movement called Fierce to Formidable, and both of those movements empower women and girls around the country to move from mediocre to powerful, dominant, fearless, and fierce. And so I'm just really excited to have been able to have moved into the Atlanta market about 5 years ago now. Wow, I can't believe it's been 5 years. And to have just been embraced since moving here, I have been able to launch several more businesses than I had when I arrived. And the number of years I've been here has been amazing to just see the growth that God has allowed. I am the CEO and founder of Literacy Moguls Publishing. My husband and I, we also run Black Reigns Magazine, the first and only Black cowboy magazine in the Southeast. I run Intercontinental Coaching Institute, where I certify and accredit other women's coaching academies and empower them to launch their coaching academies in their own cities, respectively. And I run a nonprofit called B2F Girls Worldwide, as you mentioned, which is my baby. And we're a gender empowerment incubator. And so we offer comprehensive certification and accreditation, as well as advocacy initiatives, campaigns, and events. One of my signature events is ZoomCon, where we invite youth, girls, and those who work with them to be empowered. We had our first one this past year. It was amazing. But besides all the stuff, I am a mom. I have two amazing sons, 10 and 6, and I am really excited about all that they're doing. And my husband, as I mentioned before, he is a big support in my Fierce to Formidable movement. I've actually dropped 62 pounds since June, and so that's been a whole whirlwind lately in and of itself. But I'm just excited about empowering women to move to new levels and to execute their vision, their purpose, unapologetically, what I call fierce.
Awesome. You sound like a very busy lady. And with the 10 and 6-year-old, I'm pretty sure you have to cook. My son is 20. I've cooked for 18 years. So when they get older, just remember this very conversation. Because to see after putting in that much time cooking, and boys, eat a lot. There's no leftovers. They really do. The funny thing is, I've always loved to cook. I was married 6 years before we ever had kids, and I always loved to cook. But I mostly do it for me, not really for them. I think they just benefit from it. Oh, okay.
They just benefit.
Awesome. Well, that's good. Apparently, your house is the house that when your kids get older and married and have kids of their own, they know where to go for Thanksgiving. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm working on that. We're going to see what kind of goals I come up with for 2018. But like I said, I hope neither my son nor my husband nor my family is listening to this live because, not this year, guys, not this year. So I want to touch on a few things you talked about, and I know we have so many different things. Number one, I love Atlanta, and I've met so many people from Atlanta. And I actually lived in Marietta and got pregnant, had my son. I was like, oh, no, I need to go home because it was too hilly, too much traffic. It was too fast for me. at that time. I wasn't ready for it, but it's definitely the place to be for women in business. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Again, as I said, my business just took off. Been on steroids since I moved to Atlanta. I actually came from Raleigh, North Carolina, which was a lot more conservative and so it was a lot slower, in my opinion. But came here and the environment is just conducive for growth, and you don't have an opportunity to get comfortable, I would say, because everyone's doing their thing. And so when you're in that environment and people are doing their thing, it empowers you to get on board or get left behind.
Right. And then I'm sure it's like a lot of connections and a lot of, when you connect with the right people, y'all could pull on each other's resources. It's not so much we're competing because there's so much room for growth in Atlanta. So that's,
absolutely.
Yeah. When I went to New York,
it has its clicks. It has its clicks, but
right.
I guess that's anywhere.
Right. Interesting. So one of the things that you said at the opening when you were doing your bio, you mentioned the word like mediocre, and I think you said to help women go from being mediocre. I may be misquoting you a little bit, but what exactly would you say is mediocre?
Well, a lot of times women are just in this stuck place where they've achieved a level of success, because most of the women I coach, they're actually in powerful places. So from the outside looking in, it's like, wow, but you already have it going on. You've achieved this, accomplished that. But what I find a lot of times is that women have drive, but they don't have confidence. And so they find themselves in this stuck place where, their drive has gotten them to a certain point, but now that it's time to matriculate into that next area, that next realm, they find themselves stuck, reluctant, and they need someone who can come in and reignite the power that already resides within. And so that mediocre that I'm referring to is that stuck place where, yeah, you've achieved a level of success, but there are levels, and you have to move from faith to faith to faith, and you can't do that staying stagnant. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you think it's not just about being stuck, but also being in a safe place? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people like they want to do more, but it's safe in the area I already know.
Absolutely. I mean, being comfortable is what it's all about. I mean, we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to have to, because you're going to have to go through some things. We make it sound easy on the surface, but when you're in it, you're like, man, if I had known I was going to have to go through this, and this, it's just like pregnancy. I never. If you'd have shown me the end and what I was going to have to go through at the end, I never would have gone through the process. But when I get on the other side of birthing forth that vision, man, it's empowering. Man, I feel like I feel so strong as a woman. After I gave birth to both of my children, I felt strong. I looked back and said, wow, I did that. But see, if you had shown me the end, I never would have gone through the process.
Understood. And like I'm just reliving my whole birthing experience from when I had my son, and he'll be 21 here shortly. But I had a very easy pregnancy, and they always say boys are easy. They say being pregnant with boys are easy. I don't know because all I have is a boy, just that one. But that part of pushing that baby out, and that's very true even in business, even in upping your confidence level. It's easy to a certain point, but then when it's really time to, like, really go for it, it's like, you know what, you get to debating your whole life. Like, what did I do 9 months ago to deserve this?
Right.
So let's so fierce. A lot of times women, they want to be fierce, but they don't want to say it out loud. You know what I'm saying? Because if you hear a word like fierce and other words similar to that or whatever, women tend to feel like maybe that's a cocky word, so to speak. I mean, I personally love it. You know, I want to be fierce and fabulous and all of the above. But, you know, it can be taken as a little almost cocky word. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Fierce is not about being cocky or arrogant. It's about owning who you are. You know, God says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so this is about being a woman of passion. This is about commanding your purpose. This is about being liberated to move and operate and attract the freedom you desire. That's fierce. And so when I walk into a room, I'm fierce. When I put this product out, I'm fierce. When I show up on the show, I'm fierce. And I can be as laid back as I want to be, but there's something about when I operate in my purpose, which is fierce, that I come outside of myself. And so being fierce has nothing to do with cockiness, but has everything to do with owning your power.
I love that. I love that. What exactly is a gender and social justice advocate?
So, okay, that's a great question. I actually, growing up, I had a lot of challenges and issues with some of the things I saw, some of the things I experienced being a female. Now, we could talk later about adding the black on top of the being the female, because that's a whole nother layer, right? But I had a lot of experiences in my past that I feel strongly led me down this path. And so even at the age of I think I was 15, Lord Jesus, I can't even remember, 14, 15, I was writing and I was journaling about some of the things that frustrated me being a female, you know, some of the stereotypical things. You know, you mentioned cooking. You know, sometimes I used to not like to cook because I used to feel it was stereotypical, because I felt it was assigning a role to me simply because I was a female, that I was expected to do certain things, and you would never question my having done this or that in the way I did it, or the way I said it, or the way I wore it if I were a man or if I were a boy. And so some of the things that bothered me, I would just write about them, right? And so really today I do believe that I was led in the direction of being a gender advocate, which simply means that I advocate for females. I advocate for females, and I am very against gender oppression and disempowerment. And so even in high school, as a high school student, I wrote a piece called Blocking Out the Gender Gap. And this particular piece garnered a lot of attention. At the time, I was living in Belgium. And I won a National Press for Women award in high school by just voicing my opinion. And from that point, I think I've just felt liberated and empowered to continue that on that path. And so I do everything really to inspire the little girl in me, to make that little girl proud. That as a young girl, I was very introverted, very withdrawn, never trusted my voice. I had to actually learn how to be seen. And so every time an opportunity would come, I would shun it. And I would let people make me feel small, like my opinions didn't matter. And really my self-esteem was just in a low place. And so they always say that your pain is normally your purpose. And for me, that's very true. So as my confidence grew and I began to become more of a confident woman, and I began to realize I had influence over others, I moved more into the direction of my purpose. And so now I'm just showing women how to be magnetic. And I'm empowering women to empower girls and equipping them and training them. And so very fulfilling. But, yeah, that in a nutshell, that's what gender advocacy is all about. And it's why I chose to go into this lane and own it.
Good answer. And my next question would be, what would be the difference, or do you see a difference between a gender advocate and a feminist?
Well, slightly, yes, I do. Whereas I do believe you can wear both hats. They differ in that a feminist is that can take on so many different forms as far as like your action, your output, how you translate that in your world and in your environment. Because you could have, you could be a feminist and have beliefs that just play out in how you carry yourself at work, or you can have those beliefs and it just carries out in, just how you conduct your life. I mean, in general. Or it could go so far as you're writing books about it. You're being vocal at, rallies and in the community on platforms. But then when you think about gender advocacy, that means you are taking a stand that is out loud. This is not something that you're living quietly. This is something that you're being not only vocal about, but it's like your life's work. And so you're campaigning. You are pushing initiatives. You have ties with politicians. You are producing your own initiatives even. And so it's just more of an out loud, not hidden, covert type of lane to be in, whereas, again, feminism is, you pretty much, you can go from either side of the spectrum, where you're very vocal to where you're just very subdued and under the radar.
Agreed. Because if you think about an advocate, they're active. And I asked about that just listening to, what you were saying about being a gender advocate and, women, empowering women and everything. And it just seems like everybody, I see people with feminist shirts and their feminist posts and, all of the above. I'm a woman, of course, and I do believe in women's empowerment and the power in empowerment. I think women have, I know women have more power than we realize over everything. We just, don't know how to use it because, those are my feelings about it. However, I am Southern, so I would not consider myself a feminist, but I do believe that women should have equal rights. However, when it comes to home, I'm very much, the men take out the trash and, I keep the house, even though I have businesses to run. So I was like, I couldn't be a feminist because I'm still like old school Southern. So that's extra interesting. I've always wanted to ask somebody that, like, what do you think a feminist is? Because honestly, I think a lot of people that claim that title and wear the shirt didn't even know what a feminist was until Beyonce put it in the song. And that's just my opinion. Then all of a sudden it became like the hot word, the hot thing to be. So you never know where the conversation.
Well, there are different types of feminism, and I think that's where a lot of confusion comes into play because of course, you're always going to have a radical sect of anything, right, of any ideology, of any school of thought. And so when you think about feminism, you have your radical feminism, and I think radical feminism sometimes turns women, more traditional women, off. And so I think that's why you probably have this this clash sometimes. Because, feminism can be very general. When you think about feminism from a global viewpoint, it's simply the belief that men and women deserve equality in all opportunities, treatment, social rights, respect. And so when you keep it to the bare bones meanings of feminism, you can embrace it. I mean, I always say men should be feminists. Because when women win, everybody wins. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure, you're making more money. It helps the entire household. That's helping your husband. So, I mean, feminism is for everybody. But then you have, again, those other types of feminism. So, you could be a radical feminist, where you're pretty much, you're so immersed in this whole sexism thing, and it's so deeply rooted that you feel that the only way to eradicate it is to just eliminate the idea of male and female altogether. So you no longer want there to be any separation of man, woman, female, male. That's pretty radical. And so
right.
I think some people can't get down with that. But then you may have other types of feminism, like think about the social feminists. You know, they're less extreme. They're not as extreme as the radical, but they basically focus on capitalism and the way that women and power and money work together, and how women
right.
get more opportunities, resources, et cetera. So, and then the most common person that I run into in my field is the cultural feminist. So they just talk about, you know, how women are being hurt, but society overall is being hurt because of masculinity. And so it just encourages, you know, more feminine behavior. And so, I mean, it all depends on where you fit in. But, I mean, I believe most women are feminists, honestly. They just don't know it because people get confused with the term.
Interesting. That's a whole other show, and I would definitely have to do research on the topic. It's just, to me, it's like such a hard word. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm very much about words and how they sound and how they make me feel and other people feel. And when I hear the word feminist, I'm thinking, you know, of course, back in the day when the movement originally started, you know, but I'm like I said, I can't be a feminist. I enjoy being a wife and a mom and doing, like, wife stuff and girly stuff, you know, but it's like this image, the wrong image is coming to my head because I'm, you know, like I said, I'm old school Southern. I'm not leaving the house without earrings, you know. Do I believe in my woman power and women should be equal on some things? Yes, but it's definitely an internal battle between my Southernness, how I was raised, what I believe, my core values versus other things, you know. So like I said, that's a whole other but interesting show. The internal battle of Valencia continues. So, you know, because it's really something to think about. Because if you think about, okay, you're a wife, you're a mom, but you're also a very, you know, successful businesswoman, but you're also a beautiful woman. So it's like, so I'm sure you like to, you know, get yourself made up and stuff like that. And if you say, okay, well, I'm a feminist, it'll give the whole movement, quote unquote, a whole different look. Because I do think that people or women that would not consider themselves feminists have this one picture in their head of an angry single woman riding a motorcycle with a cigarette hanging out her mouth, or maybe it's just me. So
yeah, I mean, like, and that's of course that goes back to, you know, just getting educated on the feminist movement and the different types of feminism. Because I mean, to me, from listening to you, it sounds like you're just a liberal feminist. You know, versus some of the other ones, and that's, you know, that's fine. And you know how it is with all stereotypes. There are always going to be some. There's always going to be some imagery that comes with a word. I'll put it that way.
True. I'm gonna definitely do some research on that because I like knowing stuff, and that way, if I say I'm not something, I want to be as close to 100% sure as possible. So your nonprofit, B2F. Let's talk about that. What's the mission and the purpose behind it? Tell us a little bit about B2F.
I sure will. So, okay, it's interesting that B2F Girls initially started as a mentoring program where when I moved to the Atlanta, Georgia area, I saw a need, and so I started focusing on just the esteem and leadership qualities for girls, and so I started putting on these monthly workshops, and they were free workshops for girls ages 10 to 17, and at the time, we were not called B2F Girls, we were called Tween Style Power, And so we focused on empowering girls with healthy body image and esteem and leadership tools. And so with each of these monthly workshops, we held them at the library. We would bring in different experts from various industries, and they would cover an array of topics from teen dating to full-fledged business plan drafting. And so after a year of this model, we started getting an influx of women who were asking us, well, you know, what can we do to launch our own girls empowerment program in our states and in our cities? And they wanted to do something similar. And so I decided at that point, reluctantly, that I would raise my hand and I would be the person who would create a guide and a successful program model that they could emulate and then begin running their own program. So then that's how Tween Style Power became B2F Girls, and we've shifted from working directly with girls to empowering and equipping women who work with girls. And so now I help women to launch their own programs, and I provide support services. We have a membership platform, and again, we offer certification and training so that they can be effective. And we've had a lot of success. Many of our women have gone on to not only launch their programs, but to also gain contracts with school systems, which is really awesome, and to really affect change in the schools, because we know schools can't cover everything. And so especially a lot of our black girls are really needing mentorship and needing someone outside of their parents who can pour into them and give them guidance, especially with applying for college, dealing with, you know, boys and all that crazy hormone stuff, you know, and just really focusing on their goals. They need someone outside of their parents that they can actually talk to who's certified and trained in how to coach. And then our parents need it too. We've been doing a lot with parents at parent workshops lately because a lot of our parents, they would come in those sessions, and I kid you not, they would be sitting there like, you think you're talking to my daughter, but you're actually talking to me, which let me know that women, a lot of women, still need healing. They still need healing, and they still need to go through the process. So it's just been empowering overall. B2F Girls, from there, we've done campaigns at the state capitol. We started the Tween Star Awards, where we were recognizing girls for their accomplishments in various cities, and we have ZoomCon, where girls can come and get empowered and hear and not have to, you know, not have to search for this information, but the information is all in front of you because the experts are in the room. That was powerful. Then empowering the parents who attended. It was just amazing. I'm so excited to even be in the position to just empower women, to empower girls, and to just lead the charge for change. And there's too much for me to to list on this show about B2F Girls, but you can tell my passion, right?
Right, and that is, we need more of that. Like, I understand. It's kind of like you want to hit the parents and the kids at the same time, because honestly, I'm just glad I'm grown, because I couldn't imagine being a teenage girl growing up these days with social media, Photoshop, and the role models they have. It's like, let's get half naked and cuss on social media so we could get a show. And so they really don't have, when I grew up, I looked up, I had Whitney Houston, and this was way back in the day. She was a good girl then. I had Shaka Khan and Tina Turner, and they were powerful, sexy, but, like a different kind of sexy, like powerful, sexy women owning it without being half-dressed and naked. So what I looked up to or had to look at, was very much, powerful women. It wasn't so much half-naked women that's, cussing and acting a fool. So I only could imagine that as as the world grows and as your organization grows, that you have to not pivot, but you kind of have to address some of the issues that's going on today as far as what the kids see.
Absolutely. I'm glad too, because I didn't have to deal with any of this stuff.
Do you find it harder? Versus when you first started the girls, the young ladies you were addressing, versus now? Do you think it's harder now because it's every year it's more outlandish type stuff that's really being seen a lot, honestly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, even when I work in the school system, that you can just tell from year to year just how fast and expediently things accelerate to the point that you can't keep up sometimes. You're like, wow, what's out now? I remember just maybe a couple of years ago when Snapchat came out, and all of the parents were like, "What's Snap? What?" And so it just takes a while to because every time we get used to a certain social media, for example, they've already come up with something else. They've already moved on to something else. Remember Vine? Remember everyone was doing Vine?
Yeah.
and then once the old heads, right? Then when the old heads got on that, they shifted, they pivoted, as you said, and they said, okay, you on that? Well, we're not doing that. And it's so funny because they moved on to Snapchat. It's so funny because I remember vividly one student saying to me, why is it that people on Facebook only take pictures from the shoulders up? He said, all those old people on Facebook, they always take shoulders up pictures. And it's because their generation is so used to full body shots on Instagram and snap photos and videos on Snapchat. And so they're like, what is up with all these shoulder shots? I just thought that was hilarious.
Wow.
Something I never would have thought to look for, being from the older generation.
Me neither. And it's funny, like I know, with my son being 20, I know, like, I'm not allowed on Snapchat because he's there now. And it just seems like so just crazy to learn, but so with Instagram. And now it's like, how you don't know how to use Instagram or Facebook, anytime you move. But it's like pretty soon I'm expecting, and he's on some other stuff, so they're already coming up with other stuff since,
I'm sure.
Since the quote-unquote older generation is now, a lot of people are moving to Snapchat. So I saw something on his phone the other day, and I was like, oh, what's that? Then, of course, Mom, get off my phone. I'm just trying to see. But when as we migrate to where they are, they run to something else. So, it's very, very interesting. I can't with Snapchat. By the time I get it, they'll have 2-3 other things that everybody is doing. I just don't know about Snapchat yet. But so I know we hit on a couple of things, and I love, too, that you are addressing the parents, because one of the things that I've seen is a lot of times when you're dealing with the kids and you're trying to build these young ladies up, and, I have nieces and cousins, so, I do know, like, that little girl, young lady perspective. But when you build them up so much and they're all feeling good about themselves, so on and so forth, and then they still have to turn around and go home, sometimes to a very negative mom, because nobody ever taught her how to love herself. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. It's just, a matter of being able to reach. And sometimes it's so heartbreaking because as much as you see those things happen, you can't reach everybody. And that's why I got a sense that what we were doing by taking a step back and, because some people, they were like, well, what happened? Why would you stop working directly with the girls? And I was like, because there's also a huge gap where parents, right, adults, are not being impacted. And then I just feel that if I could do this on a much larger scale where now I'm sending women out to kind of be foot soldiers, to do the work in various cities across the country that we can have much more of an impact. And so some of these women, their whole focus is parents. So they're not just, dealing with, mentoring programs for girls. They're only focusing on the parents, which is powerful, because I've come across some really nasty moms where we have to scale back some things. Like, hold up, please understand I have your best interest at heart. Please understand, because I've had moms really get intimidated by the fact that the daughter looks up to a mentor. And so we've had to work through those barriers because, they'll say things like, well, I'm her mom. I'm her mentor. She doesn't need a mentor. Crazy stuff, right? And the whole time you're thinking to yourself, you do know that, there's some things she might not want to tell you. And even if she can tell you, she might wish that you cared more, that you weren't a friend, that you were playing the role of mom instead of trying to be a friend. And so, there are so many stories I could tell, but it really makes a difference to have those adult women who are sure of who they are and who are certified and trained to go in and work with not only the girls but the parents.
I think that's awesome. I really do. Like I said, I have nieces and I have girl cousins that are more like nieces because of the age gap. But I think that's really, really awesome. And I know a lot of people, my age with, kids, my son's age or younger. And a lot of times you get moms that compete with their girls, compete with their kids. They're trying to be their kids' friends. You see a whole lot on social media.
Oh, yeah.
And
I see a lot of people doing the challenges where it's like, who is younger, me or my daughter, and those types of things. And it's like, wow, and I understand, some people use social media as a form of entertainment, and I get all that. But we have to stop sometimes and just reflect on how this may be impacting our children. Because I let my children know, right off the bat, I'm not your friend. I'm your mom. I am not your friend. And it keeps the line clear. My job is to get you to a place, okay, by the time you're 18, 21 years old. So I don't have time to be playing friend right now. I could be your friend when you grown and you live outside of my house. But right now you need a mom. And so I try to keep that in perspective and delicately share that with parents, because you're right. A lot of times they lose grip on their purpose. The reason they're supposed to be in that child's life is not to serve in a friendship capacity. It's to serve in an accountability capacity. Yes, you should be kind, but they should never be confused about who the parent is.
Right. That's a whole other show too. I just want to somebody listening to this show needed exactly what she just said about being your child's friend, because I promise I've seen people do it and they're paying for it now, because guess what? There's no respect there. There's no respect there. And I'm telling you, I just like you, I made those lines very clear early, and that's why me and my son don't have any issues. Because I feel, I don't care how tall you are or how old you are, you're going to be 50, and guess what? I'm still the mama. So, wow. So I wanted to, that time goes by so fast, but I wanted to make sure, especially since we're kind of on a, self-esteem, empowerment, people feeling good about themselves. 62 pounds. That's like a 12-year-old, or 11-year-old, like what? That's a kid. You lost a kid.
Yes, I lost a kid.
So I have so many questions. Okay. So number one, congratulations.
Thank you.
What was that moment like? What did something happen and click, and you was like, I just got to lose weight, Did it happen on accident? Like, what was that jump start to get you to lose weight?
So I honestly, this was around the end of May. I just got to a point where I just said, you know what, I'm looking in the mirror and I don't recognize myself. I literally did not recognize myself. And I do believe that day that I woke up and kind of just snapped out of it mentally, and I was just having a conversation with myself in the mirror, and I was like, you know what, this is not you. Not only is this not you, you know, dropping this weight isn't even about you. You have a flock of people who are waiting on you. They need what you have, and no one else can give them what they need like you can. And so I had this exhaustive list of reasons why I could stay in the predicament I was, but what it really boiled down to was fierce, the word fierce. And I got convicted because here I was, you know, I was looking like, well, I was listing out my accomplishments, you know. Well, God, I've been featured in this magazine, and I've been featured in this magazine, and I earned my doctorate degree from North Carolina State University, and I've been selected as who's who in Atlanta. And, you know, I was going through all this stuff. Like, that was going to excuse me. You know, sometimes we think our reasons excuse us. And so I had all these reasons, a quite exhaustive list, and they were all valid reasons, but none of those valid reasons excused me from not having the energy to fulfill my purpose, from not being able to reach some women because of my looks. Just being quite honest, there are going to be some women, if you listen to this, you're not going to be able to reach when you don't have your body together. I don't care how powerful you are. I don't care what your message is. I don't care how much you know, what kind of training you have, how many degrees you have, what kind of accolades your resume reads. You will not be able to reach some women. And so that's where I was. And I finally just snapped out of it. And so that day, I made a decision that I was going to post everything I ate. I was going to join the gym. I was going to post every workout. And I was going to be very transparent. And I was going to hold myself accountable in doing so. And fast forward, I've lost all the poundage.
You lost the kid. You lost the kid.
Yes.
That is, and I love so many aspects of it. Anyone that knows me or associated with me in any way, shape, or form know periodically I'll post the pictures of when I was 80 pounds heavier. But that was like 10 years ago, to where it seems like a brief period of my life. But I know I held on to that weight a long time. You know, like if I go back 10 years and then go back, you know, years and years and years. And I love that you said, and that's like a drop the mic honest moment. It's some people, you know, if we're honest, it's some people, if you can't be using the word fierce if you don't look, quote unquote, fierce, because people have an idea, you know. So I love that you said it's some people that, you know, you got to be on top of it. I don't know even how to add to that, because that's like, so that's 100% true. And, you know, to be honest, you know, it's some people that probably are intimidated by you and won't work with you now. So it's almost like a twofold.
It's a two-edged sword, because you can't win for losing sometimes. But I would much rather be on the healthy side, where I'm getting the benefits of being sexy, of being fit, of being fine, of being fierce, than to have been on the other side of the spectrum where you didn't want to work with me simply because I didn't look good, or simply because I didn't look healthy. Or what can I tell you when I can't even control myself, right? And so, you know, people have those thoughts. And so my thing was, though, I was so caught up on being cute. I was, you know how it is, like, I have a cute face, and I was skirting by with that excuse. It's like, no,
I'm big, but I'm cute.
Yeah, I'm big bone, but I'm cute, you know. But the energy I have now, oh, my gosh, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. And so it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's nothing like it. And I tell people, once you lose it and you actually change your lifestyle, that's what a lot of people miss with with weight loss. When you change your lifestyle, it's so much easier to keep it off.
Yes.
And, like, I know, I'm at my quote-unquote, I call it my winter weight, and then after Christmas, then I'll drop my 5'10" winter weight and get back to my summer weight. But I'm still, but I know my body. I know what I could do, know what I allowed. But one of the things I wanted to say, and I was thinking about this the other day, and have some stuff you just don't want to post because somebody might take it wrong, but it's a truthful statement. Look, you like, now, okay, hashtag real talk. Now you see big girl movements and hashtag a man wants a woman with more meat and all of those things, to where I think people have taken the fat shaming to let's flip it around on the girls that's not fat. You understand where I'm going?
I do. I live in Atlanta where there's a big booty movement, so.
Right. It's and I'm like, whatever makes you happy. However, when I was a big girl, there was no be confident in your big girlness movement. So, I don't feel bad if I eat one hot dog or 5. I don't know. It's very interesting. Hashtag, if you're curvy, you got it going on. And if you're not curvy, you got it going on. As long as you eat and healthy, that's all that matters. So make that a movement.
Exactly.
Rolling on. Okay. So I want to hit, and I know we got like 9 minutes left, so I'm gonna almost rapid fire this thing. Colorism. What is colorism for those that don't know what that is?
Yeah, so colorism is about, we always talk about racism, where you may have another race, treating you differently because of your race. But a lot of times we don't talk about colorism and how it plays out in the African-American community, which I wrote a book on it called When Dark Chocolate is Bittersweet with my co-author, Darlene Thorne. And it's about being prejudiced against someone who has a darker skin tone. And you're within the exact same ethnic or racial group, but you're still targeting this person or discriminating against this person simply because their skin tone is darker. And we see it play out in many races beyond African American, but it's very prevalent in the African American community, and it has been going on for a long time, and it's disgusting.
Yeah. And we, that's something that I don't know if it'll ever go away, because it's been, around since forever, and of course me in the South, there's, Creole, and there's so many different terms for people of various shades. But one of the funniest things is, like I said, because of the role models I had growing up, I never had an issue with my bubbly brown. But I know people that are my color that have an issue and would prefer to be lighter, or people that's darker than me. And I'll never forget, somebody told me, and this young lady was darker than me, and she was like, the lighter you are, the more white that's in your DNA. And I was like, what? I never heard that before. I didn't research it to see if it was true. I don't know, nor do I care. But, yeah, so she was like, so, yeah, people your color and lighter is because y'all have, y'all not all the way black. Like, and I was like, where does this even come from? Like, where did you read that? I have, questions, but as I get older and I talk to more women, I do see where a lot of women will tell me they had issues growing up with their color. Did you feel that maybe some girls didn't like you because you're fairly light?
I think sometimes growing up we didn't put we didn't have a label to put on it, even though the term has pretty much been around, been used since the 1950s. I don't think we knew what we were dealing with, and we couldn't really articulate or pinpoint what it was. But in retrospect, I mean, I didn't really receive a lot of reverse discrimination, but I did see it play out with some of my darker skinned friends. And we all know that colorism has been researched. I mean, it leads to smaller incomes. I mean, lower marriage rates, longer prison terms. And so it's a huge problem. And unfortunately, it's not really dealt with the same as racism is.
Right.
And that's neither here nor there. I don't look. I have some contingency with that, but anyway. But it is a term that everyone needs to have in their vocabulary because it affects outcomes that are serious. Right. And I can't really, I guess to answer your question, no, I can't really say that I received a lot of discrimination based on my being a lighter complexion woman.
Interesting. I think it's one of those things like we're not supposed to discuss that with other people, you know. Like some things in the Black community, we would love, and I'm doing my air quotes, to keep it as just discussions against, not against, but with just other Black people. Like we don't want the world to know we're discussing these things. But if you guys know me or whatever, my husband is white. So if you don't think I've asked him this question the first time the term colorism passed my ear, we've had this very discussion about, did he have a preference in color as far as dealing with Black women? So that's another whole topic for a whole other day. But we're married, so that should give you guys the answer. So fierce and, like I said, that's a whole other.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think
we have time.
We got like 5 shows out of this one. Fierce and formidable movement. What is that all about, and how can we be fierce and formidable?
Awesome. I'm so glad you asked. So because I lost, I went from a size 16 to a size 6 in a relatively short amount of time. Of course, and I was showing people. I was being very transparent, put the whole experience, the whole journey. I carried people along with me. And so women were just really intrigued. I was really shocked by how many women were tuned into this, my own journey. And so I created a challenge and a support group for women that will allow women, of course, is inspired by my own journey, but it will allow women to now embark upon their own journeys and to get the accountability and the results they're looking for so they can really manage a colorful lifestyle and pursue a life of purpose. And we know a lot of times when you don't feel healthy, when you don't feel good about yourself, it can impede your progress, slow you down, delay. You can miss opportunities, all kinds of things. And so these are only for women who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, who are ready for the accountability, and who are ready to unbecome everything that's not really them. And so that's my catchphrase, unbecoming everything that's not really me. And so now I'm helping women to do the same. And so we've had a powerful show up. We have over 1,200 women now, I believe, who are in the Fierce and Formidable Women's Support Group just that fast, and they're killing it. Oh, my God, I'm so proud of these women. They are killing it, and they're being accountable. They're seeing results. They're in a really good space because they're eating healthy, and we know that food affects moods. And so part of the reason, that's another reason I cook. I like to be in control of what I put in my body, and it's just been powerful to just witness so many women be impacted beyond myself. It's one thing when you do something for yourself, but when you can look back and see other women receiving the benefits of your journey, that is empowering. It really is.
That's like awesome. Especially like I so love that you documented the whole journey. So it wasn't like, oh, she disappeared for 3 months and had gastric or anything like that. You was like, because let's be honest, I said a lot of people are doing that these days, and it's so easy to take the easy way out, but you're like, Yeah, we're going to do this thing together, and I love that. So how can we become part of the Fierce and Formidable movement?
Awesome. So if you are out there and you would like to unbecome everything that's not really you, you can find us on Facebook. We have a support group for women called Fierce to Formidable. So just put that in the search box, Fierce to Formidable. And we also, you can find us on b2fgirls.org, our website, b2fgirls.org/F2F-challenge. And you'll see the link right at the top when you get to the website, b2fgirls.org.
Awesome. And, guys, I will make sure that's posted on the Define You Radio page so you guys could figure out how to be fierce and formidable. Start now so that way one of your 2018 goals is already taken care of. You have a book also with that, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, I have a book coming out. I have 2 books coming out. The first one is called since we're already talking about Fierce to Formidable. Fierce to Formidable, I have a book and workbook that are coming out in December. The workbook will include inspiration, meals, recipes, things I used on my journey, and a book that will address you, the person, all about personal development and business goals. And the other book is called Black Girls Here. I have some amazing co-authors. It's an anthology where we talk about the untold stories of Black women and our experiences of being marginalized and dealing with the complexities of intersectionality where gender and race intersect. Really excited about it.
And both of those are dropping next month, correct?
Yes, in time for Christmas.
Yay, and they could find that. Do you have like a pre-order website or something? Like how okay. Cool. What is it? So I could make sure I put it on.
So we also, you also can order the book at b2fgirls.org. When you search at the top, you'll see a drop-down called Products, and you'll see a drop-down called Fierce to Formidable. For the Fierce to Formidable book, click on the Fierce to Formidable link. For the Black Girls Here book, click on Products, and you'll see Black Girls Here right under the Products tab.
Awesome. I'm listing it now, dropping. And also when you, that's a good Christmas present. I'm just saying, guys, if somebody's listening, give me something for Christmas. I know I have heard I'm hard to buy for, but I'm a reader and I love stuff. So, yeah, just check it out at b2fgirls.org. And, yeah, books are great gifts. Definitely give me that. When they release next month, can you make sure when you post it on social media, you tag me in? That way I could also post it on the Define You Radio's page for everyone to see in case it slips their mind. They was like, oh, okay, yeah, the book. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. You still with me?
Yes. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, it has been a great show. Is there anything you would like to leave the audience with tonight?
Yeah, I would like to encourage the women who are out there building, who are out there on their grind. Just remember, because this is something that's always stuck with me, Rome wasn't built in a day. And so if your body's not where you want it to be, if your business is not where you want it to be, if your career is not where you want it to be, just remember Rome was not built in a day. And just enjoy the process and become the woman that you know you can be, and you'll begin to attract the resources that you know are yours.
#Amen. And we could find you at b2fgirls.org and on social media at Dr. Shekina Moore. And
Dr. Shekina
what's your
Moore. The other handle is B2F I have a lot of handles now, but those are the main ones. And also, you can find me online at ShekinaMoore.com.
Awesome. I will make sure I list it, guys. You definitely want to stay connected with her. Anyone that is willing to talk about being a gender advocate, to being fierce, all the way to colorism, she knows a lot. I'm just saying. So thank you so much. It has been a great show. I've learned some stuff. I'm definitely going to look up feminism because I have questions. This way I'll be armed and equipped with my questions. So you have a great Thanksgiving. Thank you for being on the show. Happy Thanksgiving to all of those celebrating it. To those who aren't, you have a great week also. We have had a great month of shows. Thank you, and for that, I am very thankful. Think over what you've learned on this show and the shows for the past month, and let us know what you are thankful for in 2017. Thus far, the year is not over yet. Pens and papers down. Class is officially over. Make sure you join us next week, same time, same place. Have a great week, and remember, only you can define you.
Thanks for listening to Define You Radio. Class is in session. Connect with the show at www.defineyouradio.com. Pens and papers down. Class is over.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.